For decades, we've been told that if we just buy a new piece of software or a stronger firewall, all our security problems would be solved. Well, that era is over. Today, we're going to talk about a fundamental shift, the realization that true digital defense isn't something you buy off a shelf, it's something you build from the top down. It's not just about tech anymore. It's about strategy, and it's about governance.
And that really leads to this question, right? Every organization has to ask this. If your firewalls and your antivirus software are just the soldiers on the front line, then what's your command structure? What's the master plan holding it all together? Because today's threats, they aren't just trying to break down the door. They're trying to outsmart your entire system.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with that big paradigm shift. Then we'll look at a real-world government blueprint. After that, we'll see how AI is changing the game, zoom in on how the financial sector is building its own fortress, and finally, we'll peek over the horizon at the next frontier of threats. It's going to be a journey from mindset to machine, so let's dive in.
This image right here, it gets to the very heart of it. We have to stop thinking of cybersecurity as just a wall we build around our stuff. Instead, we need to see it as the very bedrock our organization stands on. A solid foundation of governance is what supports everything else. Without it, even the fanciest, most expensive tech can just crumble.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, a new era of defense. This is where we're going to break down that massive paradigm shift that's happening as we speak.
For so long, the go-to response to any new threat was, okay, what software can we buy? That's the outdated approach. The modern paradigm completely flips that script. It starts with strategic governance, a deep, comprehensive plan to manage risk that comes from the boardroom, not the server room. It's a huge move from just reactively buying things to proactively leading with intelligence.
Okay, so strategic governance sounds great, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Well, to get a handle on that, we can look at how an entire nation is building its defense using a data-driven master plan.
Now, what's so cool about this slide is how it turns these big, abstract ideas into concrete actions. This is Taiwan's national 6-point checklist for all its government agencies. And it's not a suggestion box, it's a data-driven accountability tool. It forces everyone to ask the hard questions. Are we reporting stuff on time? Do we have ancient, high-risk issues still kicking around? Are we actually using intelligence to see what the bad guys are up to? Suddenly, security becomes something you can measure.
You saw MITRE ATT&CK mentioned back there. Just think of it as the ultimate playbook of hacker techniques. It's all based on real-world attacks. So instead of just trying to block one specific virus, defenders can use this framework to understand and counter the entire strategy an attacker might use. It's the difference between just guarding a door and getting inside the mind of the person trying to break in. And this isn't some static plan that's just going to sit on a shelf. This roadmap shows a clear evolution. The goal is to go from just collecting basic statistics to providing detailed, useful analysis, and from simple reporting platforms to a fully integrated governance platform. And just look at that bottom line. It's all about moving from early AI tests to truly intelligent decision-making.
And that goal, intelligent decision-making, is the perfect segue to our third section. Because making sense of all this data, it requires a new kind of force multiplier. It's time to see how AI is joining the fight.
Now, AI isn't just a buzzword here, it's a workhorse. Specifically, we're talking about large language models. You have the same kind of AI that powers tools like ChatGPT. They're being used to read and understand mountains of security data. They can sift through incident reports, threat intelligence, vulnerability scans, basically connecting the dots in minutes, a job that could bog down a human team for weeks.
A perfect example of this is the Cybersecurity Weekly Report. The AI automates all the heavy lifting, pulling in data from all these different systems to give one holistic view that people can actually understand. This creates a real human-machine team, saving tons of time and making sure the analysis is always top-notch. It frees up the human experts to think about big-picture strategy, not get buried in spreadsheets.
And of course, this isn't just letting AI run wild. As Deputy Director General Cheng Wei points out, this is a strategic partnership. The government's job is to make sure that as AI gets rolled out, it's done safely, securely, and in a way that perfectly aligns with these new governance goals.
Okay, so we've seen the big national-level strategy. Now let's zoom in and see how this all works in a super critical sector, finance. How is the banking industry using these principles to build its own fortress of resilience? First up is Pillar 1, Target Governance. For way too long, security in banking was just about ticking boxes on a compliance checklist. But they've realized that's not enough. The goal has to be real security results.
And that means empowering the Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO, and the board itself, giving them the authority and the resources to be truly accountable for the organization's defense.
Pillar 2 is about global protection, and the key idea here is a shift-left strategy. In software development, shifting left just means you build security in from day one, not trying to slap it on at the end like an afterthought. For a bank, that means making sure the mobile app they're building is secure from the very first line of code.
And a huge part of that is the SBOM, or Software Bill of Materials. Honestly, it's like an ingredients list for your software. It tells you every single component, where it came from, and if it has any known problems. In a world where all software is built on other software, that kind of supply chain transparency is absolutely critical.
Next is Pillar 3, Ecosystem Co-Defense. Because no bank is an island, right? They rely on a massive ecosystem of partners and suppliers. This pillar is all about managing the security of that entire supply chain, and more importantly, working together. Things like the FISA, that's a center where banks can share threat intelligence and defend themselves as a unified team.
And the final pillar, solid resilience, starts with a really honest admission. You're going to get attacked. It's going to happen. The real question is, can you take the hit and get back up? This means constantly running attack and defense drills, testing your response plans, and having multiple layers of backup systems so that critical financial services are never, ever interrupted. And underpinning a lot of this modern strategy is the idea of zero trust. The old model was like a castle with a moat. Once you were inside the walls, you were trusted. Zero trust says there is no inside. It assumes every user, every device, every single connection has to be verified every single time. It's a simple motto: never trust, always verify. And it's a massive step up for security.
Okay, so we've got governance, we've got AI, we've got industry teamwork, but all of this has to be ready for what's coming next. And that brings us to our final section, preparing for the future and the next frontier of cyber threats.
And looming on that horizon is a challenge that is frankly unlike anything we've ever faced before: the quantum threat. The sheer power of future quantum computers will be able to shatter the encryption that protects almost everything we rely on today, from our bank accounts to our national secrets. This isn't sci-fi, it's a very real future that security experts are planning for right now.
So, how do you fight a threat that doesn't fully exist yet? The defense is called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. These are basically new kinds of encryption algorithms designed to be tough enough to withstand attacks from both today's computers and future quantum computers. Proactively adopting PQC, it isn't just a good idea anymore, it's an absolutely critical part of future-proofing our entire digital foundation.
And that brings us to our final thought. After everything we've looked at, the shift from tech to governance, from being reactive to being proactive, the question we have to leave you with is this: in your organization, is cybersecurity seen as just a cost center, another line item on a budget? Or is it seen as the core strategic asset, the very bedrock that will guarantee its survival and success in the future? Because how you answer that question changes absolutely everything. Thanks for joining us.